Hey, what's up? It's Phoenix, and welcome back to my channel. I encourage you to hit that like button, to subscribe for more quality content from Phoenix, and to share my videos with your friends. I'm very excited to produce the content that I've been producing, and I'm very excited at what's to come. So definitely keep a lookout. Now today, I'm going to focus on a theme that I think about frequently and that informs and influences my writing and my art and the various things that I do in my life. And that is the relationship of knowledge and wisdom to the world and to our worldviews and the way in which we think about things. And today I would like to talk a little bit about knowledge and wisdom with all of the things that have been going on in the world, ranging from politics to COVID-19, which has a lot of people scared, and various things that are going on in our time in history. So, in my perspective, it is very easy for people to panic. It is very easy for us to be tribalistic and exclude other people who may be in need. It is very easy for us to do what we are told and to only consider the things that we have been told. And all of this is difficult to do. I think we are hardwired this way, and we respond to social interactions and situations in a very specific way. But in my life, I have learned through time that I don't want to respond strictly with panic or fear or other things that I could be doing that might have negative or even destructive consequences for the world. Now, of course, a healthy fear is necessary. Individualism is not always bad because we need to look out for ourselves. But I would say that that shouldn't come at the expense of everything else and of everybody else. And those are the kinds of things that I worry about. So, I do in my life think a lot about the big questions. I think a lot about what is happening on a broader scale. And this includes questions about life, questions about existence, what is the meaning of life, what is it that I want to achieve in my life and that human beings should achieve, what is the purpose of life, and various kinds of questions. And I ask these questions a lot. And I ask these questions because I am very curious about the world and about the nature of reality. Now, I know that COVID-19 specifically is very scary for a lot of people. We've definitely closed down a lot of our institutions, and this can be scary. We've also had people stockpile on a lot of items, and so it's making things more scarce, and we don't want to get the disease, and we're afraid of what's going to happen. And I think that all of this is definitely something that happens, and is happening in that we should definitely be in tune to. People are definitely dying, and it is a scary time. However, in my estimation, we must look at things from a broader perspective, which is the idea that people have always survived. There is a way in which we have been very resilient throughout the ages, and that people survive. And we continue to tell our stories, and we continue to connect with people. And I think all of this is very important for us to keep in mind. There's definitely nothing wrong with taking precautions, but we can't forget that other people are out there and that we need to look out for others in the world as well. Now, to talk about this broader picture that I have in my mind, in an attempt to see the bigger picture of things, it is definitely clear that it is easy to become apathetic and to devolve into a kind of loose and I would describe as very fast kind of devolution, you could call it, when we devolve and when we don't exactly know what's going on. But there have always been difficult times in history, and these are always things that we deal with, and I believe that we can overcome them. I'm sure in a few years from now, in a decade from now, we'll be looking back at this, and it will be very surprising our kind of panic and our lack of resolve with these things. And granted, there's no way that I can tell the future, so definitely things could get worse. There could be economic disruptions, there could be a lack of resources, there could be a lot of people getting sick and dying, the hospitals are overwhelmed. I mean, these are scary times, but the bigger picture that I describe in my mind is by thinking about how really nothing is certain. There's no guarantee in life on anything. And so we have to do our best to care for others and to construct the lives that we want to live and to try not to fall into too many social traps, such as panic or mass delusions or things of that nature. And we definitely don't want it to be every man for himself. Of course, the idea of every man for himself is a very specific political idea, and there are many people that would argue for this kind of thinking. But I do think that the way that we should live life, at least in a lot of ways, is by caring up for other people. And this is very hard to do because it is not always in our instinct to care for our community. But I really think that this is important in this time in life. So, as I was saying before, I was talking about knowledge and wisdom, and I definitely think that we should be able to discern knowledge from wisdom. I think that that is a very important thing. And when I think about how I should talk about these kinds of world events and global pandemics and all of these things, I admit that I'm a little bit torn. On the one hand, I want to talk about it to help mediate the tension and the stress that we're all feeling and to provide a perspective. But on the other hand, I don't want to talk about it too much because it may be devastating for people and people may not know how to deal with it. I very strictly monitor what I view and read and pay attention to, such as in social media or the mainstream media, and that is because it is easy to fall into chaos. It is easy for things to devolve and for our own mentality on things to devolve, and I think it can be a very scary time for everybody. Now, you might be wondering what I think about knowledge and wisdom, and the simplest way to describe it is that knowledge is the facts and details and perspectives that we learn in society and learn by way of various fields and disciplines. And this can come from a variety of sources such as podcasts or books or science. And there is also wisdom, which is information that has passed through a long time, perhaps, could be ancient, but it could also be modern in that they're a more robust, stable system and way of looking at things, a kind of system of thought. And both knowledge and wisdom are very important in these times. And it's very important that we have these kinds of discussions on things, realizing that knowledge is how we can make the world better, that wisdom is something that we can implement in our lives to be able to express things in a richer way and to be able to know what is going on in the world. Now, there is an idea, and this could be Buddhist or Platonic or a variety of other things, but there is the idea that the reality that we see is composed of much deeper layers, so things that seem to be happening on the surface may not be what is happening in the overall reality that we face. And I think this is very important, and I think this is an example of wisdom at work as well as knowledge, because it's telling us that the things that we are afraid of and the things that we think that we are seeing may not be what we are seeing. They might not even be as bad as we are thinking, and that's why this is very important. Often I don't think that things are what they seem. I think that things are definitely complicated and we don't always know what is going on, but you never know. And so with all of these things, I think it's important that we keep a level head, that we stay cool-headed, and that we do our best to communicate with other people in an effective way, and that we continue to look out for others. Knowledge and wisdom are very important to implement in times of need, just as they are important to implement in any time. And I really believe that they can make the world better because of the way that we can use these things to improve our lives. And I think that it is very much important. There is definitely a bigger picture, and we may not always be able to see it, and we may get scared, and we may panic, but in my estimation, we must do our best to remain level, to remain neutral, and to definitely respond to mortal threats and definitely respond to things that are happening while also finding a balance and being able to let some of the hard stuff go. And I will admit I am somewhat afraid because I have no idea what's happening, and things have gotten even crazier over the past couple days with so many places closing and with the things that we're hearing on the news and all of these things. And so I don't know what the future holds, but I do think if we can try to take a macro perspective on things and try to see the bigger picture, that we can work together and that we can come up with solutions and that we will get through this. I definitely think we will get through this, and I think that's very valuable and important. So yeah, I'm Phoenix, and I hope that you found this talk on knowledge and wisdom helpful, and I hope that you find it relevant to what's going on in your life, and I hope that I was able to provide a little bit of support and comfort in these dark times. let's definitely band together and do the best that we can to serve each other in these hard times, and let's do what we need to do to get through. I do believe we will get through. I'm Phoenix, and thank you for watching, and I will definitely see you next time.